Hi and welcome to my PlayHouse, and today we are here in the data center because I have a little task that I want to do. I have this awesome Lenovo SR650, it's the Model 1, and that's my 24/7 always on server at the moment. It's quite powerful. It has two good Intel Xeon CPUs. I do believe they are the 6254. Are they? Yep. It's these CPUs. I have one. This one isn't. It's kind of broken. That server has two of them, and that makes it very powerful and very power hungry as well. This Monday I had an electrician come by and connect my my solar panel set up with an inverter to the grid. It's not done yet, but it's done enough so that my solar panels is now powering my house most of the time. It still needs to be registered and the electrician needs to do all of that stuff, but right now I'm producing a bit of solar power for the stuff to run on. So, and I get a lot of nice graphs so I can actually see what it's doing. And so now it's kind of become a bit of a sport to see if how much I have naturally been playing with solar power before, but well, I thought this time I'll try and improve on it a little bit, because I don't really use all of this performance in this server. The thing that I have that use the most performance is my editing server, and it only uses that performance that 1 hour when it's rendering out my video. So 2 hours a week it renders out a video, and it takes like it takes an hour-ish depending on the video. Shorter, longer, takes longer. I went in to look how many cores have I actually given the rendering server to do this task, and it seems like that I have actually limited the rendering server to only use 18 cores, which is one of these CPUs, and it's not even 18 cores, it's 18 virtual cores, so it's like half of a CPU like this that it's using for rendering out my servers, and there is 2 CPUs in the server. So yeah, to save on power, I think I'm gonna try and remove one of the CPUs in my 24/7 server, and also the RAM. That, well, actually I have some other RAM that I want to put in there, but I'm gonna replace the RAM that is on CPU number 1 and take the RAM out for CPU number 2. I'm not really using it, and that way I'll be able to stretch the power that I'm using in my house so that I could use more of the solar power and not have to buy as much power from the power company. I don't need to. It's kind of just a sport. It's not that much power that one server like this uses. We'll go and check the computer. At the moment when it's doing nothing, it's, I think I just saw it, it said 165 watts, but that is also kind of a lot of power at doing absolutely nothing. Well, it is also kind of my router, so at the moment it's also providing the internet. But I'm also doing a project in the basement where I'm replacing a lamp, and I need to shut off the power to the house to do that lamp. You will get that video on Friday, so I started that video and have to turn off power to the house, but then I have to turn on, well, I think it might take more than like 10-15 minutes that the UPS can supply power, so to be safe I need to turn off the server. So this video is it's all entangled, and this video is in between, so I need to turn off the server, to turn off the power, to replace the lamp, to, yeah, it becomes complicated, and I might as well do this while I'm at it and see how that goes. But let's go to the computer and see how much wattage it uses right now, so we have like a benchmark. I'm not gonna render anything. I don't really care how much power the server uses when I'm using it a lot. If it uses a lot of power when I'm needing it, it's okay. It's the idle power I would like to get down, so that when I'm not really working the server very hard, it doesn't use a lot of power. That would be very beneficial. So let's go check that on the computer. Okay, so here we are on the server, and I've logged into the X-Clarity controller, and here it says that it's using about 168 watts, and it has 2 power supplies. I think I might also try and just run it off 1 power supply. Having the redundant power supplies does cost quite a bit of power, so we might try that as well. But well, these are the numbers. We're just gonna refresh it because sometimes it does something different. Let's see what it comes up with now. So now it's using a little bit less, 155. So a bit less. It's using that amount for the RAM, it's using that amount for the CPUs, and quite a bit for others. I don't know what that others is, but well, yeah, there are some hard drives in there as well. So there is something to work with here. Let's do another refresh and get 3 numbers, and then when we take the CPU out and stuff, we'll have some numbers to compare it with. That's the same number. So okay, about 155 watts is what it's using right now. And here is a view of the inverter. It's 10 o'clock in the morning and it's really clouded outside, but I'm making 200 watts of power from the solar panels that goes into the inverter. I'm getting 361 watts from the battery. Also goes into the inverter, and then the inverter uses quite a lot, and then I'm using 419 watts on the house. Okay, I am in VMware ESXi, and I have just shut off a couple of Windows machines. They don't really like to get kicked. So I think I have everything, so I should be able to shut down the whole. Oh, we could just see we have the CPUs here, so we have 2 of those, and we have the RAM. I have a RAM error out there, so there's actually 768 gigabytes of memory in it. That's gonna be halved when we take out 1 CPU. I'm gonna take the RAM out as well because I'm not using it. I'm using like 5% of the RAM. I have just shut off some machines, but there's still plenty. And at the moment, it's more fun to play with the power. So yeah, blah blah blah. Shut down. I didn't catch it, but now it's blinking. So I'll go around the back and I'll disconnect it. And when I take the power out to fix my lamp in the basement, the server will not use power, and I think the UPS will be able to supply enough power to power the NAS up here. Yeah. Okay, the lamp video is done. That is working. You're gonna get that Friday. So now I have disconnected the cables for the server, so we should be able to pull it out now. There. And open sesame. Oh. There. And see what we have to play with here. So this is what we got. We have this plastic. It doesn't need to be here. We can turn that around. Put it over there. CPU number 1, CPU number 2. We're going to be taking this one out. And I see that I need to go get the tools for doing that. And we have 6 RAM blocks for that CPU that goes out as well. Then we're going to replace the RAM blocks over here from Hewlett-Packard RAM to Lenovo RAM, just because we can. Otherwise than that, I think it's... Yeah, I'm going to go get the tool. And here's the tool. It's Torx. We need number 30, that one, to release the CPU. And there's a way to do that. We have to release number 4321 when taking it out. So number 4 is that one. And 3. don't think number 4 and number 3 does much. It just tightens it down further. Number 2 and number 1 is where the actual stuff happens. There. So I'm gonna loosen number 2 and number 1 a little bit. And the whole thing should come out. If I've done this right. And the CPU is stuck there. Very nice. And as I never throw anything out, I still have the cover plate for putting over the CPU. So we're gonna put that down so that the socket don't get damaged. So I can't drop anything on top of it if I wanted to do that, or was stupid enough to do that. So now we can remove the RAM. So let's do that. The RAM is in all the white slots. And these are 64 GB RAM blocks, so they are really nice and big. And as I'm replacing all the other RAM, we're just going to continue. And here we have the exact same RAM, just with Lenovo stickers on them instead of Hewlett-Packard stickers. So I'm going to put that in. Oh, there's a dead bug in my server. It's been buggy for ages. So yeah, I'm putting that in. Okay, that's about it inside of the server. So now we should just be able to put this back on. I'm gonna get a little bit of extra airflow over here now that there is nothing to block up the CPU. Yeah. Seems like I have a thing for that. So, how does this go in? Haha! So it takes some of the airflow and removes it from. Yeah. So it's more difficult to move air this way. Normally the server also doesn't need the last fan blower here when there's only one CPU in here. But I think we're just gonna leave that in. So it's not very often that I halven the performance of my servers. It's usually the other way around. But yeah, at the moment I'm playing with power and efficiency to see how much I can run off of solar. So yeah, for once we're gonna downscale a little bit and see if I can improve on the power consumption of this server. So while I was at it, I also bypassed this APC automatic transfer switch, so that's not in use. I used that when I was playing with some other solar panels power thing. So, but we need to turn our server back on. So we need our monitor here, and we need to turn it on and see if it's happy with me or if it's forever and ever hates me. Oh, something on the screen, so it's not entirely pissed at me yet. So, well, now it's thinking about its memory initializing. Go gadget. What is that? Stop it. Well, it is kind of pissed at me at the moment. I took out half its RAM. I would be pissed as well. When you have made big changes to a server like this, it does some self-checking, and that involves starting up and shutting down a number of times like this one is doing right now. It's checking if anything was wrong. Why did this happen to me? So it's checking and then it's rebooting and checking again. I think it does it 3 times. Well, this should be number 3. I really hope that light goes out at some point. Okay, it is continuing, and I'm way behind on firmware for this machine. Well, it's my 24/7, so I don't turn it off all the time, so probably should do it some more often. Events. It sees the processor, it sees the RAM, it's pissed about it. Actually, I don't know what it's pissed about. Could also, I took out the power supply. Maybe it's pissed about that as well. It has plenty to be pissed about. So, the number of... So, yeah, log is full. Apparently, it wants me to check out what the error is. Mouse is working. System error doing, go to diagnostics. Press hardware diagnostics. Yeah, it's pissed about the power supply. Yeah, it has recognized that it only has one power supply now. That is perfect. I did pull it out. I didn't just not power it, so it shouldn't actually be able to see that it's pissed about that. Okay. So it's probably just that the system has recognized that it has been downgraded or is missing some hardware that it had before, and yeah, it wasn't happy about that. Wanted to ask me if this was the new reality. Okay, still sees all the RAM. It sees the one CPU that is left in there. Other than that, it still has those 2 errors, which is annoying. But yeah, let's see if it boots. Calibrating power system. I forgot, I should have checked the power settings while I was in the setup. Could we do that? Yeah, I'm gonna go in and check the power settings now. That make sure that it's set to low power. So here we are in the UEFI BIOS thing, and I think we need to go UEFI setup, system settings, go into foreign devices. Do we have any foreign devices? Nah, never mind. Information setting there, and operating mode, and its efficiency favor performance. Let's see what options we have. We have efficiency favor power and minimum power. It's not set to maximum performance, it's set in between. So let's go for minimum power instead. And it says down here that a reboot is required. We might go and change that some other day. If this is awful, we might go and change it. I will save that. This mouse is ridiculous. Progress, blah 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 blah. Minimum power. Okay, I think that's what we're gonna try. I'm gonna go for that, reboot it, see if it will run ESXi still. I hope so. Okay, at least it's trying to load ESXi. Let's see, it should... I don't think I have messed with anything that should make it not work. Yeah, well, you never know. Messing around in the UEFI BIOS can be dangerous. Okay, so this looks very promising. My experience is that it dies before here. If it dies, if there's something wrong, it doesn't get to this but when this is done, it usually works. It sees the CPU, which has 18 cores, so it's not as if I don't have any power at all. And it does see 384 gigabytes of memory, which should also be plenty for my use. Almost there. And there we are. It's done. It has loaded ESXi. It's gonna be loading my virtual machines inside. That's gonna take a bit, but we're gonna go to the living room. I'm gonna turn this off because otherwise it's gonna be using power, and it will, yeah, our power ratings will be off. It does have this power supply that also uses power. I should really put an on-off switch on that. That would have been a nice little thing. Just turn it on there when I pull it out. I guess that should be doable. Well, that's a project for another day. Okay, everything is back up and running. When I turn off this server, I also do not have any internet, and the Wi-Fi also stops working, which means that I couldn't turn off all the Philips Hue lamps either, so the power consumption went up. But never mind. We have the CPUs, and we have the RAM, and we can see how much we use over here. Next to nothing, like 3% of the CPU is being used, 22% of the RAM. I am good to go. So that's why we've been downgrading this a little bit, so that we could get those numbers down a little bit. So power consumption, first of all, uncorrectable error occurred. I have no idea what that is, but it hasn't cleared it yet. And then it's complaining about the power supply, that it's no longer redundant. Yeah, that's correct. With only one power supply, it's not redundant. But it did help on our power consumption down here. So before we started, the power consumption, I wrote it down on a note, was about 168 and 155 watts, and now it's at 93, and we can refresh it over here and see what it then comes up with. 92, 90. Oh, can I just keep pressing? No. Well, about 87. That's pretty good. 89, 93, 97. Okay, so I might be stressing it now. So I managed to cut off at least 60, 70 watts of power consumption, and this is how that looks. We'll just focus on the last little bit, all this stuff before the blue line starts here. That's, oh, we can do better. There. So this was the consumption before. It's very close to this 30% line, which has nothing to do with it because it's using the other scale over here. But then I had to use the booster pump in the basement to empty out the well before I started. I had a lot of weird power consumption there. Then I turned off the system. I was working on that lamp video that you're gonna see on Friday. And then when the power came on, all the Philips Hue lighting I couldn't turn off because the server was off. And yeah, I did a bit of turning on and off server stuff here. So, but now the power consumption over here is lower than this line. So lower than 400 watts, which we should be able to see. Yeah, this only updates every minute. It used to be every 5 minutes, but then I wrote the company an email and they turned it down to every minute. And so right now it's using 361 watts. My house is using 361 watts. 460 is coming from the solar panels, 58 from the battery. So a lot of that goes to powering the inverter. So I bought a really big one. That might have been a mistake because it's very inefficient power-wise. So this is the inverter that I've gotten. The lighting. I even turn on the lights now. Deye. And I purchased the biggest one, which unfortunately also uses a lot of power just keeping itself going. But now saving 60 to 70 watts, I've mostly saved the power that the inverter uses. But it is also the inverter that takes the power from the solar panels and converts it in, and I can use it in my house. But the inverter itself, it uses about 2000 watt hours or 2 kilowatt hours a day just to keep itself going. So the first 2 kilowatt hours of energy that my solar panels picks up is just to power the inverter. I didn't really take that into consideration when I splashed out and purchased the biggest one available within reason. And yeah, I could have done with a smaller one, and it would probably have used a little bit less power, like a 6 kilowatt or an 8 kilowatt is also available. And yeah, I got the 12 kilowatt. Plenty of power for future use, but I didn't take this into consideration, the power it uses by itself. But right now it's getting to be winter here, and there's not a lot of sunlight, so every little watt counts. And at the moment it's very fun to play with this. It's gonna become normal along the way, and I'll probably stop turning on and off the light every few seconds to save on power. And well, yeah, but right now it's fun, and I keep looking at the graphs and stuff. So that's also why I wanted to try and reduce my power usage in the data center. There is also the NAS out there, and there is a 10 gigabit ubiquity switch running all the time, and another ubiquity switch for my power over Ethernet security camera system, which is also on all the time, together with some hubs for, well, there's the Philips Hue hubs, and there's another hub for the, come to think of it, there's a lot of stuff that uses just that little bit of power all the time to make my life this convenient. So do leave in the comments below if you have come up with an ingenious way to keep your power consumption way down. I would be very interested in hearing that. And also, you have seen what I've done. If you have some good suggestions without going crazy, it's not as if I don't want a server running all the time. Yeah, thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again, and have a really nice day. And now we're gonna turn off you because you use a lot of power. Good night.